Hello? 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 Hello?
Hi.
We're live.
Hi.
We're live. All right, good evening. It is Thursday, January 9th. This is the Council Rock School Board, School District Facilities Committee meeting, the first one of the 2020 year. My name is Ed Salomon. We'll start introductions to the right, working our way around the table.
Mike Thorwart, School Board. Matt Federickson, IT Director. Robert Brazier, Superintendent.
Mary McKee, School Board.
Ed Finney, School Board. Doug Taylor, Director of Operations.
And on the phone this evening, I think we have Kristen Marcel.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, should be a pretty straightforward meeting. Doug's got some updates from the previous meeting and a couple points of interest as far as purchases. So let me turn it over to Doug Taylor, Director of Operations.
Thank you. Okay, it is pretty much the typical list of items we're going to go over tonight, starting with energy management. The report for August does include the Wrightstown's been added back as of August of 19, so the next report we'll start to see Wrightstown reporting again. Rolling Hills has been removed because it is under construction, and in the update will be reflected in September for the middle schools as well. We continue to hover right at the 90 cents per square foot cost, which is great. The 59 for the energy use intensity, which is 1,000 BTU per square foot, is the number that can be used to compare us to any other facility, because that's the only real measurable number, because the others are all affected by different things. So we're doing well with the 59 for the intensity and the 90 cents. So we'll continue to be there and stay good if we can. Last meeting, we talked a little bit about Aramark and their energy services. We do want to continue to use them for the monthly reporting. They help track our energy usage, and then that tool is used by us to affect changes where we see energy that may or may not be as efficient as it should be. So we want to continue to do that. I have reached out to Mike McCarthy, who once worked for Aramark, to see if he's interested in returning here to help us purge all energy based on our hourly rates and at a not to exceed lump sum at the end of the year per our request for his services. He is definitely interested in coming back. He invested a lot of time here to make this energy as efficient as it is. So I'll be back in front of you with that later. And the Aramark Energy Services, who we utilize for gas and electric purchase, are coming here next Tuesday. We'll be in this very room for a lunch, an energy lunch. We have other districts coming, and every year we meet somewhere different. This year we're going to host, and we'll talk about electric and gas market conditions. We'll talk about green energy and any changes in the marketplace. So we just kind of track where energy is, and it's a good open conversation. So about an hour and a half, a nice functional lunch. Security update, not a lot to go over. We did touch base on mass notification, cell phone booster, and the Genetech cloud-based platform for security, cameras, and other things. And as you're aware, go to the financing committee meetings as well. Money is certainly critical in terms of how we utilize it across the district. So there is no assurance that we can implement these things now. I just want to bring it up that timing is always a factor relative to when we approve something and when we can implement something. So these couple projects are not necessarily in alignment with the rest of the summer projects. In fact, they may not happen this summer at all. The one thing we really need to look into is the cell phone booster, the signal system, to know what we would have to do, what that scope of work would be, so that if you say, let's move forward with that piece of the program, which is a minimal cost for the alerta system, we would need this to make that function to its full capacity. So we're going to engage our design team to just go into the 17 buildings that we would use cell phones in for this program, and begin to understand better what the scope would be. So we're not going to document and bid and go through that process. Initially, we just want to say, We have an estimate of probable cost at about $500,000. But this is the real number when we start figuring out how many units we need in each building, where are our electrical closets, how do we tie these things in. So we're going to hone in on that and get a better estimate, and then we can follow up on that. And maybe that project is the middle of next year, maybe it's next year, but at least we'll have information we need. So just wanted to touch base on that.
So, I would, if I can, what do we, is this, when we looking at the Star Center and Rolling Hills and such with the cell phones, is that part of the package in the process, or are we going to look at that separately?
It's not, it's the Rolling Hills would be kind of in that estimate.
Okay.
Star Center, I could talk to the design team now about, hey, let's introduce this product in that building so that we have a building that functions, and maybe moving forward, we talk about maybe.
Or at least have it available that when
Yeah,
we look at it.
right.
So it's before we start putting.
There are certain code requirements that the signal for first responders are strong in the buildings, but it's not necessarily the same signal that the cell phones are on. It's a different frequency. So I don't know that will help us in our regard with cell phones. So we'll follow up and make sure.
Doug, real quickly, before you jump off that slide, just to make sure that the timing around this is crystal clear, as things stand now and will continue to stand unless something changes, everything that's up here on this slide, with the exception of the testing that we want to do, so we can understand the needs better, all of those other expenditures, the vast bulk of those expenditures will be tied with this year's fiscal budget. So it'll be built into Bill's budget, you'll see that on a monthly basis, we'll pass the preliminary budget, and then not the final budget until May. So that's why, as Doug says, those funds wouldn't even become available to him, to us, until July 1st. And then you start planning out from there. So certainly, we're not looking at a day one of next year readiness for any of this.
Thank you. Yeah. A couple of projects that we are looking to implement now needs to come out of our maintenance budget, security budget. Churchville needs some additional card readers on some exterior doors so that people aren't, improperly propping doors open. So we're going to address that. And in Newtown Elementary School, we need some cameras in the gym and cafeteria and some select areas in the hallway. So these are costs that we have in our budget that we can pick these things up. Now, we also have a requirement to train our security folks in the buildings. There's part of the Act 44 is the National Association of School Resource Officers. Training is not necessarily just school resource officers, but any of the security has some training requirements. So they're going to train our staff. Now, the one thing we don't want to do is take our entire staff and send them out of the district for a week and have no security in our buildings. So we want to just send a couple people at a time each year so that we're not emptying our building of what we need so desperately here. So NASRO understood, they're in agreement, so we're going to send 2 at a time each year and get trained in this. And certainly everyone's will be aware of what they learned at that training, but the official training will take place in that way. So just so you're aware, that's something we are complying and working on.
The total cost is not going to be $495 per
Just for this year. It's $495 for two people.
Yeah, but you've got travel and living if it's 5 days as well, or is it local?
It is local.
Okay,
Yes.
so there's some mileage or something, okay, fine.
Incidental.
That's just the cost.
Oh, that's fine. I didn't know if we were flying in, okay.
No, I'm going to take that one. I have Holland and Newtown here because we did receive our LEED Gold certification for both of those projects officially. We're going to have Dewey Engineering come to the next board meeting, and they're going to present to us the placards for each project. We'll have the design teams there as well, so we'll have a small team. Arif will come up and present, and it'll be a very quick thing, but I think it's worthy of us.
I agree.
It'd be nice.
Yeah.
So that will happen at the next meeting. As you're aware, the next meeting in 2 weeks, we also have at 6 o'clock. We have the Act 34 hearing for Salt Feinstone, and then at 7 the meeting. So we'll all be here. Rolling Hills is moving along well. The structural steel for the 3 classrooms I touched on last time was a little behind schedule, but they have caught up. They've closed it. It's the base material of roofing has been installed, so they're working well there. Metal stud and mechanical, electrical, plumbing rough-in is in progress. I'll show you a couple of pictures. We got the base course paving in on the bus loop, which wasn't supposed to happen until the spring, so we're in good shape there. The building enclosure, along with some plastic at a couple windows where the permanent are in, is in place. We do have temporary heat, and it's comfortable inside, so it's going well. The furniture, fixture, and equipment, I did talk to Bill Stone a little bit about this, and moving down the road, he wants to try to, on furniture and some of the equipment, try to bid it in lieu of going through CoStar's program. So this project, we're going to have to go the way we went because of the timing, but for Soul Limestone, we'll try to bid furniture and see if that number's better than going through a CoStar, so we'll give that a shot. And then some of the technology stuff, will work with Matt and I, and we'll bid some of that separate to see if it beats some of the CoStar pricing. So that's something we'll work next time, but for this time, with timing, we're going to go ahead with PEMCO, who's been very competitive. I bid their CoStar number against other CoStar numbers, and they've always been low. So the first purchase I'm coming to the board with is active cameras, which is $101,577. The number is a little higher than it normally would be because there's a server in that number. Our server space is full. We need another server, so there's a server incorporated in there. That'll be our fifth server. So there's about $25,000 cost.
All right. That's put it in my eyes.
That's why the number feels high.
Yeah.
You're right. You're instinct. You're right on. We're doing well. So the next key milestone date is 17 February, and that's the interior framing and mechanical, electrical, plumbing, rough-in. We are, in fact, starting drywall in the cafeteria. We had the work inspected by the township, and we're good to go, starting to enclose that. So as they inspect the rough-in, we'll begin following the drywall. So we're moving ahead of schedule on that. It's going well. We're still on task for July 1st completion. This is the existing gym. This wall was a solid wall that looked back toward the playground area. This is the new stage area that was built, and you're standing where the stage one was. That line there is the face of the proscenium opening that used to be there. So the next step is to take the concrete in the foreground here out and the stone, lower the slab so we can put a new wood floor across the entire area. When I talk about rough-in and coordination, I mentioned the challenge of coordination with mechanical, electrical, plumbing work here. You can see all of the utilities. The one thing we're taking advantage of are this waffle slab, and we have these bump ups. The low area, obviously, is what we have to be concerned with in terms of hanging the ceiling, but we're going up inside these areas whenever we can to make transitions and take advantage so we're not lowering our ceilings. And here's another example where you bump up into it and across instead of sideways where there might be light fixtures or sprinklers. We all have a zone that we have to work within to make sure everybody's systems fit. So the electrician has a zone for light, the hydronic piping for heating and air conditioning, a sprinkler zone. Everybody has their zone. Everybody stays clear of the other. So it's a lot of work. We spend a lot of hours measuring and working together. This is the boiler room.
So that's a substantial plumbing you've got in there, piping.
Yeah, we do. We have hydronic pipes for the HVAC system, and these are domestic piping. And the others that you saw in the other picture, the black with sprinkler system.
Yeah.
So. And then the new boiler room, those are the boilers, those are the hot water heaters. Not like the boiler rooms of the past that Freddy Krueger lived, right? Not scary spaces anymore. This is when you come in with what will be the new main entrance. The offices will be on the left, the nurse's suite, the kindergarten, all convenient to the front of the office, the set of doors, and then you're in, and this will be the new main entry with an offshoot sub-parter down this direction. But clearly defining hallways and spaces around the building. Here you can see, we have one of the window systems in. We have the HVAC we have hydronic piping over to where the unit ventilator will be, the ductwork off of it, all of the systems are in place. This is the area we captured that used to be outside space by the playground. We did leave a little bit of an overhang for bus drop-off, so kids can get underneath and get to the main entrance, to the sub-entrance over here. But windows are going in and it's being closed. This is the new office area. This is the existing parent drop-off. This will be the new main entrance, and there's a piece of canopy that will extend this direction so parents dropping off kids can walk under the canopy and go inside. So, coming along, you can see all the brick veneer is in. This is the water barrier behind the brick, so we're in good shape as we continue to move along. The roof has all its base plies on, so we're not getting water in the building. The cap sheet will go on in the spring, but we're in good shape. So that is Rolling Hills, and what I want to do is work with Ed and get a Saturday morning tour. It won't be a long tour, but it will be nice to get out there and walk through, grab a donut and coffee, and just show you around. So we'll pick a date and we'll set it up. So Limestone is moving along as well. We have the hearing on the 23rd at 6 o'clock. We do have the Act 34 booklet in the lobby. It has been advertised, so we're in good shape with that. One of the dates that I shared with you, we just changed, so I did change it on the presentation. We have the Board of Supervisors meeting on the 21st of January to review the zoning hearing board application. Some townships just go right to zoning hearing. Here, the supervisors want to see it first, then you go to zoning hearing. So we did have the 28th of January. It's moved to the 3rd of February. So the zoning hearing board meeting is on February 3rd. All of this is on track to bid in April and start construction over the summer. So we're still working to get that done. The Star Center, we had bid back in the township on 18 December. We did receive the Board of Supervisors conditional approval on that project. We since had a meeting with the township to talk to them, the code officials, Keystone, and some other folks there, Mike Solomon, about fire protection and some other things. So that's going well. So we are finished with the land development process in terms of attending public meetings. That is over successfully. Construction-wise, again, we're looking to get out the bid in February. So next month, we'll be out the bid with the stars.
You want to break ground in April?
Yes. South and north synthetic turf projects, we did bid the north project, so another item I'll have on the board agenda for 2 weeks are the bids for the north turf, the north track resurfacing, a couple other items that I'll go over. We had 6 bidders, so it was good competition. We're going to recommend a couple value-added alternates that weren't part of the original budget, but we can fit them within the budget that we have because of the favorable numbers. One is a scoreboard. We bid 2 scoreboards, one that had a sound system incorporated in it, but the cost of that is much greater than the scoreboard without. We don't have enough to do bid. But we do have a sound system at North that we can work with as a separate project later when we need to. And a backstop netting system, a safety netting system that's at the end of each end of the field. It's about 180 feet wide. There are poles and removable sleeves. It's about 10 foot high. So it does.
That was just added, that wasn't part of the initial.
That wasn't part of the initiative, but it is worthy of consideration for people running the track, people, and then soccer balls, field hockey, lacrosse, anything heading that way, you can get taken out at the turns. So it does protect people. Direction, all being collected right at the edge of the field instead of across the track and into the grass, under the fence. There's good reason. Safety is a good reason.
Yeah, excuse me, I talked to Bob Finley about that.
Can you touch on that before?
Oh, yeah, I mean, everywhere has it. Because otherwise you can't use the field and the track at the same time.
Right.
So, it's a great addition.
The turf product, because a lot of people ask, what turf are we using? There are so many different manufacturers. We did specify 4 different very good turf systems that the contractors could choose from. They are going with our base bid field turf product. It's about a 2.5-inch fiber, several fibers together. It has a rubber sand infill mix that's about 1 3/4 to 2 inches. You got a blade of about 3/4 of an inch that stands tall after the infill is in. This turf product, if you've been to Penn Ridge, their field has some schools you probably haven't seen, or northern end, Northwestern, Southbury, Nazareth, Pocono Mountain, Upper Dublin has it at their high school as well. It's at many fields, but these are some that Dewey's worked on, where they have the product. But it's also at the Atlanta Falcons football field, Detroit Lions, New England Patriots, Seattle Seahawks, and then a lot of practice fields, including the Eagles, Giants, and some other Redskins, some other teams. And then some very recognizable colleges and universities. So the product is a viable product. It's used by, it's the most used in the NFL as far as products. So it's a very good question. So I don't foresee any issues with it. Landtech Group out of New York was the low bid, and you can see very competitive numbers with the second low bidder. The scoreboard was competitive, and the net system was the best number we saw. So when you take all that together, we're at about $1.7 million. We had a budget with base bid and with soft cost of $1,849,801, and we are about $13,000 below that. So we are right there, and this number includes almost $50,000 in allowances if we run into some unforeseen. So hopefully we don't need those. So we're in good shape. We're recommending moving forward with that. That would be a summer project at North. So we wanted to get that one ready because we know we need it. As soon as graduation is over, we give ourselves the next day to clear the chairs, and the day after that, the contractor owns the stadium. So 2 days after we're finished graduating, we're tearing it apart.
Aren't we glad we set that graduation date?
Yeah. So then we will aim to finish by the end of August. So that is an aggressive but accomplishable project. The turf field for South, the approvals were received. Dewey Engineering is working on the documents, going out to bid in February. The land development process is complete. And that bidding is also in February through March and in April start. So we're hoping, and with that project, we are going to bid an alternate to do the tennis courts and basketball courts in South to see if we can get a favorable number by grouping it. We don't necessarily have it budgeted for. We'll see what kind of numbers we get, and if we get extraordinarily favorable numbers, we'll have to talk about, is it worth considering it? If not, we'll have the documents to bid next year. So we're not wasting the documentation either way. And then you can see Silver Limestone, we're going to be there on the 21st, February 3rd. I don't expect that we'll be finished by February 18th, but that would be our goal, to try to get it done by then. We'll see. Hillcrest and Richbury Elementary School, we have a collaborative programming meeting with Hillcrest and Richboro next Tuesday. We're going to sit with Nakia and Danielle and the architect and begin to develop the basic programs, since they're both the same building essentially, but slightly different programs. And then we will have a better idea if we have to do any small bump outs, or we can try to work within the footprint the best that we can, because we know that they were limited budgets. We don't own major additions, and if we can minimize any kind of addition, we can put more money into finishes and other things where we'd like to spend it. So we will see where we are there. And that, basically, we're looking for, and we're teaming up for design development with both of those projects together. So the bid phase will be the 15th of January next year through March, and then starting that project in June, and then the next project the following. So we're looking at 21 and 22, respectively, for those projects. But most of the work is going to be done up front, and then we'll be ready to put the next one out as time goes by. And we did see very good numbers from our professionals on that. I did send forward an email relative to fees for Dewey, and I know there was some question relative to an article about neighboring districts and the fees for their projects, and Dewey's number is lower than those fees that they are looking at. Theirs is a percentage base, ours is fixed, but we take our fixed based on our project cost. It comes out less than what their fees are. So, they've been very good to us because of our long-standing relationship. So moving bids, I'm working on those documents for moving again. So we're going to take Sam Smith and his team, and we're going to move them back to Rolling Hills, and then we're going to take the LSAC program, and we're going to move that into the former Richboro Middle School. So I'm going to work with Chuck Lambert and his team, and we're going to make sure that that building is appropriately sized for this program, and we have to put some temporary partitions in that minimize the size of that building. He won't need it, but Hillcrest will need it and more when they come in the following year. So we don't want to take anything apart. We just want to kind of find a way to minimize some of that. But that's going to go out to bid this month. We're going to get bids back in February, and then in March, I'll come to you with the moving costs. And we'll get that all approved and get ready. Capital improvement projects. These are pretty much the same as we presented in the past. I did show that I did have a project here for North for a security office, but the work is minimal. We can do it with our folks after looking at it further. So I put the cell phone project in the same place, the same estimated cost. So it's the numbers are the same. I just switched the project out. So the one thing that I will say is we know we have a budget between $2 million and $2.5 million, and some of that's contingent upon what happens with NBIT and some other financial considerations. The only caveat I would say is when we receive bids for capital projects, hopefully around the end of February, we'll have some idea of where we're heading with some of that stuff so that we'll know if it's 2 or 2.5. If not, we'll probably have to award based on the 2. Because we won't know if we have the extra $500,000 at that time. So I'll work with Bill and the team, and we'll talk about it. But that's, my head is spinning around all these numbers. I'm just trying to manage it. But we're in good shape. Dewey has been out. They've looked at all the buildings. They're documenting those projects. We're working together on those things. So we're getting ready for summer bids for this coming summer. And for agenda items, we talked about the access security numbers for Churchill and Newtown, the camera server, and installation and commissioning of the cameras, brackets, all of the functionality programming. We talked about that. The new synthetic turf for North, and that includes the field. That includes new perimeter draining. We will be redoing the draining of that field and how it drains to the surface and the channel drains. We won't reuse what was there. We'll put in new. We have play plots in opposing D areas, which are a new standard as far as athletic fields go. The all-weather surface on the track and the added D area will be an all-weather surface, which we're adding. We will all-weather surface the pole vault area, adding a safety netting, and getting a new scoreboard. We have a very antiquated scoreboard there. We'll put a new metal skin on it. Last year, when the wind blew part of that off, we get water. It's very tired. It really used all the life it has and more. But it is overdue. So that will be brought to the board. Upcoming meetings are the hearing next week, and then the 13th February meeting, we'll talk about all of the projects and the progress. We'll review the capital project recommendation, and in April we'll review the South Turk bid recommendation, and that probably also starts too. So a lot of good stuff happening, and that is it.
There's nobody here from the public for comments. I'll just add that Denise Brooks has joined us. Any comments from the board? Pretty straightforward, huh?
Great stuff.
That's good.
Nice work, Doug.
Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, that concludes the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.